This relationship is the combination of the person who plans and the person who supports, as shown by the graph. This couple's relationship becomes clearer when we look at the two lines of the graph together rather than reading the two people separately. If we follow the graph from left to right, the red line and the blue line do not move at the same height. In some spaces, the wife is far ahead. In other spaces, the husband is higher. This difference shows the role division between the two people. In one sentence, this graph shows a structure where the wife holds the standards and direction more strongly, while the husband takes on more of the actual maintenance and emotional buffering. When we first look at the graph, the wife takes the beginning, the husband runs the middle, and the final color is painted again by the wife. From the first space of the graph, CP, we can see the initiative in this couple. The wife is 46 points and the husband is 37 points. There is a 9-point difference from the starting point. If we also look at the average line, both people are higher than average in standards and responsibility. But between the two, the wife's side is much stronger. Because of this, in this relationship, the large direction of this is how our family should go, the level of life, and the height of standards are likely to come out more clearly from the wife's side. The husband is not a person with weak standards. However, inside the relationship, he may become closer to the person who receives already established standards and adjusts them to reality, rather than the person who newly sets those standards. When we move to the second space, NP, the lines reverse. The husband is 41 points and the wife is 38 points. The difference is not large, but the blue line is above the red line. Both are higher than average. This scene shows the possibility that in this relationship, the weight of care, consideration, and daily emotional buffering falls slightly more on the husband's side. If the wife is the person who holds more of the direction and level, the husband may be the person who emotionally receives that direction so it does not touch the family too roughly. This is also one reason why this couple may seem to run relatively stably from the outside. In the third space, A, the husband's role becomes clearer. The husband is 37 points and the wife is 30 points. There is a 7-point difference. The husband's blue line is clearly above average, while the wife's red line is placed near the average line. This means that the husband is likely to take on more reality calculation, schedule adjustment, and judgment of actual possibility inside the relationship. If the wife first says, "This direction is right," the husband may move toward organizing what is possible and what is needed. Because of this, rather than both of them stepping forward and competing for initiative in the same way, this couple is easily read as a structure where the wife designs and the husband takes on execution and tuning. In the middle space, FC, the wife is slightly ahead again. The wife is 34 points and the husband is 29 points. There's a 5-point difference. This difference can be read as meaning that inside the relationship, the wife has slightly more power to move forward with vitality, pull the atmosphere toward her side, or add her own color to daily life. By contrast, the husband may be more used to moving with the flow of the relationship than strongly placing his own needs or enjoyment in front. In the fifth space, AC, the two lines are almost attached. The wife is 37 points and the husband is 36 points. They are practically at a similar level. Both are higher than average. This point is important. Neither person in this couple simply pushes forward in their own way without looking at the relationship at all. Both people have the power to read the situation, look at the atmosphere, and adjust themselves when needed. Because of this, there is a force that maintains the relationship by interlocking rather than breaking apart. This point makes the couple look less like a simple conflict-type couple and more like a couple that fits together functionally. When we come to the final space of the graph, SC, the core of this relationship becomes clear. The wife is 42 points and the husband is 25 points. This is a difference of 17 points. It is the largest gap among the 6 spaces. The wife is likely to push forward her own presence, her own way, and her self-narrative strongly. By contrast, the husband is likely to adjust himself to the relationship and role, rather than placing his own existence in front. Because of this couple's relationship can easily harden into a structure where the wife makes the direction clear and the husband supports that direction so it does not collapse. If we summarize this graph in one line, it is this. In CP on the left, the wife is ahead. In the middle spaces of NP and A, the husband supports. In the final SC, the wife is greatly ahead again. The beginning is held by the wife's standards. The middle operation of daily life is run by the husband. And the final color of the relationship is likely to be painted more strongly by the wife's self-narrative. If we turn the role division in this relationship into everyday language, the wife is closer to the person who holds the blueprint and draws the whole picture. The husband is closer to the person who supports that design so it does not collapse in reality. Because of her high CP and high SC, the wife is likely to want a life where her own standards are alive, a life where her own color appears, and a life that does not fall behind others. Because of this, even inside the family, she naturally stands in the place of planner, decision maker, and the person who sets the atmosphere and level. Because of his high NP and high A, the husband has a strong power to take care of what the family needs. Look at realistic conditions, organize problems, and adjust the flow so no one becomes too uncomfortable. Rather than leading greatly from the front, he more often takes the role of executor, buffer, and safety support. The combination of these two people looks very efficient from the outside. When the wife sets the direction, the husband makes it real. When the wife presents a high standard, the husband tries to turn it into a possible plan. Because of this couple is closer to a relationship where different kinds of competence interlock functionally than to a relationship that balances itself through power struggles. One person sets the standards and direction, the other person maintains them so they can actually roll into daily life. This structure can operate strongly when there are many tasks the couple must do together. We can also see why ordinary conversation works well. One person pushes and the other person receives. This couple is likely to communicate relatively well in ordinary times. However, at the center of that flow, there is a lot of the husband's adjustment and acceptance. When the wife speaks, her direction is likely to be clear. Her thoughts about what is better, what is needed, and where they should go from now on may be organized relatively quickly. The husband is likely to try to understand the purpose inside her words and consider realistic possibility rather than reject those words immediately. Because of this, their conversation often flows more toward decision and execution discussion than debate. For example, even with a large decision, the wife first says, this direction is right, and the husband is likely to organize, then what method is the most realistic? In this structure, the conversation looks like it works well from the outside. In reality, it also runs well. However, inside it, there may often be parts where the husband folds his own needs and fits the flow. In other words, the peace of this relationship is likely to be maintained not because the two people always agree in exactly the same way, but because the wife sets the standard and the husband receives it and organizes it. The basic climate of this relationship is stability created by strong direction and high acceptance. The basic climate of this couple is made by the interlocking of one person's direction and the other person's acceptance. The wife has strong certainty about her own standards and her own way. The husband has strong power to read the other person's needs first and tune himself. Because of this, inside this relationship, who sets the standard can easily become relatively clear. When the standard is clear, daily life becomes efficient. The large direction of the family is also set quickly. Issues such as child education, financial priorities, and the order of daily life can also run relatively clearly. This point is a strength. The family does not scatter loosely, but can move while looking forward. However, this stability may not stand on fully equal tension. it may be stability created when the wife's strong direction and the husband's high acceptance interlock with each other. Because of this, if this climate continues for a long time, it takes on two faces. On the outside, it runs well, and in reality, it may also produce results. But inside, one person's fatigue and the other person's taken for grantedness may grow. The quiet tension of this relationship begins exactly here. The way they recognize each other is also likely to be different. One person supports existence and the other person recognizes through standards. The husband is closer to recognizing by supporting existence. He is likely to receive and support the wife's strong drive and her own color, and sometimes even her excessive standards, as that person originally lives that hard. In other words, the husband is likely to maintain the relationship by receiving the wife's energy as it is, rather than trying to change her. The wife is closer to recognizing through standards and achievement. She is likely to see the husband not as someone to ignore, but as a person who can do better. Because of this, recognition may also be given through achievement language such as "you did it well." You have grown this much, and it should be at least this level. That recognition is clearly sincere, but conditions and standards may always be mixed into it. This difference is quite important in the relationship. The husband gives a lot but asks for little. The wife expects a lot, and when expectations are met, she recognizes more greatly. Because of this, over time, a feeling of emotional debt may build on the husband's side. He may feel that he keeps giving, keeps adjusting, and keeps supporting, but he himself does not receive enough. Let's look at the positive scenario. If they interlock well, they can become a very strong team. The strength of this relationship is clear. The two people are very good at filling each other's empty spaces. The wife has the power to make things move forward. The husband has the power to support them so they do not collapse. Because of this, if the relationship runs well, it can create very strong, practical life power and drive, especially in front of tasks such as family management, child rearing, long-term planning, and social advancement. They may show quite strong teamwork. Something that would be difficult for only one of them can run fairly efficiently inside the combination of the two people. In child rearing as well, this role division can continue naturally. The wife is likely to move first towards setting the direction of education, the level, the long-term goals, and the family standards. The husband may take on more of checking the child's condition, adjusting the rhythm of daily life, and managing actual study and daily routines. One side sets the large direction, and the other side makes that direction actually run in daily life. This role division is efficient. It is especially strong when the family runs like a project. The structure of making plans, adjusting them to reality, and carrying the maintenance cost is already inside the graph. We also need to look at the negative scenario. Quiet discharge and quiet solo driving may begin. The danger of this relationship may not always begin with a large fight. Rather, the two may usually fit well. But when the husband becomes tired and discharged, the conversation may suddenly stop working. The husband originally has high NP and A, so he has great power to understand and adjust to others. However, this power is not infinite. When work, study, family, and responsibility overlap and his energy reaches the bottom, his power to receive and organize the other person's demands as usual decreases. At that time, rather than arguing back, he may become quiet, or he may answer while his mind is closed, or the words may simply stop continuing. By contrast, even in those moments, the wife may not lower the standard, and she may not quickly understand why the flow has stopped. Why is he so unmotivated? Why does he not move immediately like before? What needs to be done is clear, so why is he stopped? These feelings may come up first. At that moment, the two people's conversation may continue on the outside, but inside it may become misaligned. The wife speaks the direction. The husband has the strength to listen, but he no longer has the strength to receive it. Because of this couple's conflict is likely to appear not as a loud explosion, but as one person pushing harder while the other person quietly turns off. The fact that the husband's SC is low is especially important. This number shows the possibility that when fatigue and burden build up, the husband may quietly step back or endure through silence rather than directly setting up his own position and confronting. Because of this relationship may look peaceful on the outside, but inside it may harden into a structure where only one side keeps yielding. Let's also look at the family direction that may harden in the future. It is a family that becomes a shared project. The large flow of this couple may harden into a family that runs around the achievement of children and the household. The fact that the two people's nicknames have already hardened into mom and dad is also symbolic. Parental roles and the well-being of the family are likely to be placed at the center more than the couple's personal desires. When the wife's high CP and high SC are added to this, the family can easily become not a simple unit of living, but a project that must be well designed and well proven. The husband's graduate school attendance can also be read inside this flow. There may be the husband's own desire for growth, but at the same time, the couple's flow of raising the future of the whole family to a higher standard may also be carried in it. If this structure continues to strengthen, they may become a family that makes larger choices for child education and social achievement in the future. For example, for the sake of the educational environment, the family may become separated over a long distance, or a structure may harden where one side earns outside and the other side moves around the children. If we go a little further, in the long term, we can also think about the possibility of a choice similar to a wild goose couple. Of course, this does not mean that it will necessarily happen. However, if the wife's goal orientation and the husband's structure of compliance and devotion interlock as they do now, there is a clear possibility that one person will try to raise the family's standard higher while the other person quietly carries the cost. This scenario may be efficient in reality. However, emotionally, it may be a high cost. The couple becomes stronger as a team project, but the risk also grows that they become more distant as two people who love each other. The tuning this relationship needs is to find the point where handsome and moderately help each other live. What this relationship needs is not to decide again who wins and who loses. The two people have already done quite well in their own ways. What is needed is to adjust the speed a little so this relationship does not stand only on one side's planning and the other side's sacrifice. The first tuning the wife needs is to lower the light of the lighthouse a little. Having standards is a great strength. However, those standards do not always have to be the best. She needs to recognize that the husband's way of doing things moderately may also be that person's rhythm. She needs to distinguish one more time whether what is needed now is presenting standards or checking the state. The first tuning the husband needs is to speak, not only adjust. If fatigue, burden, dislike, and hesitation are spoken too late, the relationship eventually stops working. The husband needs to speak about his own state a little earlier, so that acceptance in this relationship becomes tuning, not sacrifice. Instead of, I am okay, he needs to bring out earlier, this is too much right now. I want to slow down a little. And I think differently. What both people need is time to look at the current relationship more than current achievement. Before asking how to raise the child, how much further to go, or what standards to set, they need time to check. What face are we living together with now? To summarize, they need to move beyond a family that runs well and become a couple who actually feels each other. This graph does not show that this couple is weak. Rather, it shows that they are so well interlocked that if they are not careful, the relationship may harden only toward efficiency. The wife's high CP and high SC are the engine that pushes this family forward. The husband's high NP and high A are the foundation that supports that engine so it does not stop. Because of this couple has strong practical life power, can create achievement, and can go quite far as a team. However, for long-term happiness, efficiency alone is not enough in this relationship. The wife's handsome force needs to become a little warmer. The husband's moderately needs to become a little more confident. It is difficult to last for a long time only with one person's charisma and the other person's endurance. This couple is a very strong partnership that fills each other's lack. However, for that strength to last, they need the power to slow down as much as the power to set direction. They need the power to ask about each other's state as much as the power to keep standards. They need the power to set up one's own position as much as the power to support. Then this relationship can grow not only into a successful family, but into a good relationship that lasts long.